It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. And now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And good morning to the John Fredericks Radio Network. Michael Patrick Leahy here. It is Monday, October 21st, 2024. It is that time of day. It's time for the Morning Rundown, brought to you by the Glock Store, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here is the Morning Rundown for Monday, October 21st, 2024. We have a lot to cover today. Number one, 15 days until the election, the presidential election of 2024, and 8 days until our very good friend Stephen K. Bannon is released from prison on trumped-up contempt of Congress charges. Number two, Stephen Bannon, as we speak, is being illegally held in prison by the Harris-Biden administration. Yes, he should have been released at the latest October 11th, and in some analyses, he should have been released in early mid-September. They're not applying the law equally to Stephen K. Bannon. I know that shocks you. We'll have the details of that here in a little bit. Number three, Kamala Harris. Has she gotten screechy? Yes, she has. We've got some. She's on the campaign trail. It's not been a good week for her, or a good weekend. We'll have some of those details here a little bit later in the program. Number four, Elon Musk. It has announced that he's giving $1 million a day to someone who signed his petition from now until the election, and he's already given $2 million of that away to two different people. And it's just for signing a petition. The left is claiming he's violating election law because you can't pay somebody to register or to vote. But he's not paying them to register or to vote. He's paying them to sign a petition in a random way, like a sweepstake, for simply signing a petition that says, yeah, I'm in favor of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. I think it's much ado about nothing. Number five. Okay, everybody saw this. Donald J. Trump worked at a McDonald's in Philadelphia on yesterday. He worked the fries and he worked the drive-thru. We've got a lot of tapes on that. Yeah, that was something else. Number six, someone in Washington, D.C. has leaked Israel's war plans that apparently they provided to the Biden administration to attack Iran. They've leaked it to the press. Who could possibly have done that? Not a good thing. Number seven, for all you sports fans, we have a classic World Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. You remember when it used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Yankees in the 50s, and then early 60s, the LA Dodgers and the Yankees, and then I think wasn't the classic 1981 World Series? Yeah. Orel Hershiser was the big star of that one. Dodgers beat the Yankees in 81. The Yankees have not been in the World Series since 2009. It's been a while since the Dodgers have been. I'm going to have to check and see, but it's been quite a while. So, and of course, our favorite player, Shohei Ohtani, the superstar from Japan, is going to be there. So that should be a lot of fun. Number eight, Donald Trump had a very busy day yesterday. He was at the Pittsburgh Steelers game last night, where the Steelers beat the New York Jets, 37-15? And Trump is out there in the crowd yelling, USA, USA, USA. And it was a classic tailgate party. I think every sign in the tailgate was for Donald Trump. And then finally, number nine, this is something. As you know, we're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. And, of course, we're heard all across the United States in 20 radio stations and on a number of, on the apps out there. The Daily Mail did a very, very nice profile of John yesterday. And so I highly recommend that. You can go to my Twitter feed, X feed, rather, Michael P. Leahy, and you can see that article. So there you go. That is the morning rundown for Monday, October 21st, 2024. Lots to cover. And it, as always, the morning rundown is brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. glockstore.com. I was over there talking with Lenny McGill, who's the founder and CEO of the Glock Store the other day, and he told me about this service they offer. It's a service, not a product. It's called the 10-day red dot optic cut. So you can mount almost any red dot optic directly to your Glock. Now, he showed me how they did it. I was very impressed, and I asked if I could offer a deal on this to my listeners all across the John Fredericks radio network. Lenny told me they don't normally do it, discounts on it, because it's very popular, and they're selling plenty of this service already. It's so popular. Look at this. They've done over 11,000 red dot optic slides and haven't missed that 10-day delivery window yet. So he showed me, you send your Glock in with the specs, and they cut the red dot optic slide to fit your Glock. That's how it works. But I said, look, my listeners are great, and I want to introduce them all across the country to the Glock Store. He said if I really wanted to, I could offer a 20% off to all my listeners, but only for a limited time on that 10-day red dot optic cut. So I told you guys that Lenny was my good friend. So to get one of the largest discounts the Glock Store has ever offered on this service, and may never offer again, go to glockstore.com, put the 10-day red dot optic cut only service into your cart, and use into your cart rather, and use the promo code MPL20. See what we did with that? MPL. Yours truly, Michael Patrick Leahy 20. MPL20. The offer's good until the end of the month. That's 20% off the 10-day red dot optic cut only service, and only when you use the promo code MPL20. The Glock Store, right here in Nashville. Okay, I promised. Donald Trump worked at McDonald's in I think it was Lancaster, Pennsylvania, yesterday. We have some clips of him donning his apron and his McDonald's gear. Clip 25.
Touched by a human hand, nice and clean. Of course, my hands are nice and clean. This guy's a good instructor.
I appreciate it.
Wow. I'm going to give a really big one so that look at that, they're just pouring out of it. How good is that, Margot? Here, Margot, have them.
Now, did you notice how color coordinated he was? He wore the white shirt with the red tie, and he took his blue jacket off. So he's there wearing his McDonald's apron, which is what yellow and red. The colors are yellow and red, so it's color coordinated. Okay, so then after he worked the fries, he worked the drive-through. Can you imagine you're driving through McDonald's and who's serving you up but the former once and future president? Here we go, clip 26. Trump at the drive-through.
You believe this? Look at this guy. He's a MAGA guy all the way.
Okay, so for his first order, yup.
Well, that's our good-looking group. Hello, everybody. This is not a normal situation, is it, huh? How are you? What a good-looking family. How did you produce those good-looking kids? Oh, they look like the wife. They look like the wife. How are you? Nice to see you. That's great. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. And there'll be no charge. Trump is paying for it. Is that okay? Oh, you're going to some extra stuff.
Oh, okay,
This is all on Trump.
Oh, all on Trump.
I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yes.
Huh?
Let's check and make sure it's everything you said it would be.
All right, there you go. Now, the whole thing was just so much. We had so many clips of it. Apparently, it's broken all records of TikTok videos. Too much fun. And, of course, the left is going crazy. But it's all to make a point. He now has worked at McDonald's longer than Kamala Harris ever worked at McDonald's. Why? Because she never worked at McDonald's, despite claiming to have done so. When we come back, you're going to hear my defense of Stephen K. Bannon and why he has been illegally held in prison by the Biden-Harris administration. Back after this.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. I told you I was going to bring the receipts here about the Biden-Harris administration illegally holding Stephen K. Bannon in prison today as we speak. Stephen K. Bannon should have been released if they followed the law at the latest October 11th, and perhaps as early as mid-September. I'll explain that now. And by the way, if you want to call in about this, our number is 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. Well, look, this, by the way, constitutes election interference by Joe Biden, by Merrick Garland, and by the Bureau of Prisons. It is intentional. Why is it intentional? Well, because our friend Stephen K. Bannon has been the most effective advocate for Donald Trump since, for years on War Room, on the program that people watch on Real America's Voice often. And they are intentionally keeping him off the campaign trail because he is an effective advocate for Donald J. Trump. Now, how did we get here? Well, first, you had an unconstitutionally organized select committee, the January 6th committee, which was not structured in accordance with the rules of the House of Representatives. Remember, in every instance, a committee consists of Republican members appointed by the leader of the Republican Party and Democrat members appointed by leaders of the Democrat leader in the House. And in this instance, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House. Kevin McCarthy was a minority leader. And Kevin McCarthy wanted to have Jim Jordan on that committee. He wanted to have other more aggressive conservatives on the committee. And illegally and unconstitutionally, Nancy Pelosi did not allow them to get on. Instead, she picked her buddies, the turncoat Republicans, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, to be on the committee. So it was not a properly constituted committee to begin with. Now, having said that, twists and turns, very clever lawyers have been able to persuade courts in the District of Columbia, federal courts in the District of Columbia, that that's not a legitimate challenge. Now, I think ultimately it is a legitimate challenge because they were not a legitimate committee. In any event, so this committee was there for one particular purpose, not to seek justice, but to falsely pin the blame on January 6th, for January 6th on Donald J. Trump. And we can see this even in recent news. Liz Cheney unethically and probably illegally communicated with a former White House employee who was a witness before the committee, while that witness, this is Cassidy Hutchinson, was represented by other counsel. Liz Cheney didn't talk to that counsel, but went and end around and got Cassidy Hutchinson to change her testimony, and that testimony subsequently has been, largely debunked. But clearly this was a political hit job. And Liz Cheney was basically violating all rules of law and violating Stephen K. Bannon's rights. Okay, so Stephen said, I can't testify because of executive privilege, but if President Trump waives it, I'll testify. So they went for the first time, I think, in 50 years. They not only did they get a contempt of Congress criminal recommendation, but they got the Department of Justice to prosecute Stephen K. Bannon politically motivated. I mean, they haven't done this in 50, 60 years. They certainly didn't prosecute Eric Holder when he had similar contempt of Congress. And there are others out there that in the Biden administration, they're not prosecuting them. They prosecuted Stephen K. Bannon in a jury in Washington, D.C., where 95% of the people last time around voted for Donald Trump. Did he get a fair trial? No. Was it a done deal? Did the judge allow him to present a defense? No, he did not. And by the way, Bannon said, I will testify now that when Donald Trump removed executive privilege, he said he'd testify. But they said, no, we got you. Anyway, so they sentenced him to prison. He's got a 4-month prison sentence. He reported to Danbury Federal Correction Institute on July the 1st. Now, it's a 4-month sentence, misdemeanor. I mean, there are hardly anybody. There's a couple 100,000 federal prisoners. How many of them are there for misdemeanors? Maybe 10? I don't know. Peter Navarro had the same deal. He served 4 months in prison. But once you're there, every federal prisoner has the opportunity to be eligible for something called the First Step Act, which in essence allows you to get an early release. You've got to go through what's called a risk assessment, a pattern risk assessment. It's, let's see what this thing calls for, prisoner risk assessment system. Anyways, it's one of those acronyms. Pattern risk assessment. Yeah. Prisoner assessment tool targeting estimated risk and needs. Oh my gosh. Can't believe they make that up. So you're supposed to get that. And from that, they see if you're eligible to get estimated time credits. And there's a program, and you just got to show up and do your job. And just if you're a nonviolent criminal, everybody qualifies for that. And had Stephen K. Bannon been given this pattern risk assessment at the beginning, as he should have been, as the law says he should have been, and had he been put into one of these programs, basically show up and do your job, in essence, he would have been released instead of October 29th. Well, it depends on who you talk to. Our reading of the law is he would have been released on October 11th, which is 10 days ago. I talked to Peter Navarro, who had served time in prison under the same charges in Miami, 4 months, and he said, if this had been done right, there are two ways that Stephen K. Bannon should have been released early. 30 days under the First Step Act, and then there's another one called the Second Chance Act, which gives you another 12 days. So that would have put him back to, September 17th release date. So, we're looking at basically 5 weeks, 5 weeks to 2 weeks here, where the Biden-Harris administration has interfered with the election by unlawfully and illegally keeping Stephen K. Bannon in prison for the purpose of keeping him off the campaign trail, for the purpose of keeping him from effectively advocating for Donald J. Trump. That's the reality of what we have. Now, the Bureau of Prisons, as we know from our other friends who've been incarcerated unjustly, Stuart Parks, one from Tennessee, they don't care about prisoners, and they don't care about implementing the law. They, sometimes they implement it, sometimes they don't. It's just a complete and total disaster. Having said that, I think right now, if Stephen K. Bannon presented, what do they call it, a writ of habeas corpus, I think he would probably win on that. But you're looking at, 8 days? I don't know if that will move fast enough. I'll tell you this. I think both Stephen K. Bannon and Peter Navarro, neither of whom were allowed to qualify for these programs that they should have qualified for, they have a civil rights claim against the Bureau of Prisons and the Biden-Harris administration for depriving them of their civil rights and their freedom. That is where we are right now. And look, I think Stephen K. Bannon, once he comes out, is going to spend 1 week on the campaign trail. I don't think he'll sleep. He'll be out there hitting the campaign trail. He'll be in Pennsylvania. He'll be in Michigan. He'll be in Georgia. And if you're listening right now, as we are trying to get an exclusive interview with Steve, and I think we may have a chance to do that. And we are pressing every member of Congress that we know to demand from the Bureau of Prisons that Stephen K. Bannon be released immediately, not on the 29th, but immediately, because the Bureau of Prisons and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been illegally depriving him of his freedom for the ulterior motive of keeping him off the campaign trail and for and basically what constitutes election interference. So that's our story on Stephen K. Bannon. We'll have more on this with Tom Pappert, who's got a story in the next hour. We'll get the details with him. Up next, if all goes well, Todd Bensman with the Center for Immigration Studies has come back from southern Mexico where there are 400,000 illegals waiting until the day after election to pour into the United States of America. We'll be back after this.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. On Friday, our very good friend Todd Bensman with the Center for Immigration Studies reported to us live from southern Mexico, where, much to our shock and dismay, 400,000 illegals that had come up from South America, from all sorts of countries, some from South America, some from Haiti, some from Iran, some from China, some from others, are currently kind of housed and not allowed to get out for the most part. And what Todd told us was that the Biden administration in December cut a deal with the Mexican government. And that deal was, we're going to cut down for the next several months and until the election, the number of illegal immigrants that are crossing the southern border. So the Mexican army rounded up thousands and thousands and thousands of illegal aliens who are like on the border and trying to get over. And they shipped them down. They deported them internally down to southern Mexico, where about 400,000 of them are hanging out and waiting, just waiting in what Todd called a hellscape, which I believe it was. And so he was there on Friday, and he documented that for us on this program. And then over the weekend, he got an Iranian who was there, and he interviewed him. And we're going to play that right now. Here we go. An Iranian in southern Mexico just waiting until they get the green light from the Mexican government to come into the United States. I'm pretty sure we go. Here we go.
11 countries, from Brazil to Mexico. I can say you Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico.
How much money did you spend from Tehran to here?
About $4,000 or $5,000.
Say to Americans who are worried that maybe you are no good man, maybe no good Muslim man, maybe some extremist or something, what would you say to Americans?
I'm here. It's my childhood dream to come to USA, and I have lots of pictures with USA flag. I always hear USA song. I love your culture, and I have lots of friends in USA. But I know they think we are terrorists, but it's not like this. All of the Iranians are kind people, and if you come to our country, lots of people wants to invite you in your house, in their house, and just our government is like this. We are not.
Yeah. So okay, here's a guy who is trying to get into the United States illegally. He claims he's from Iran. Look, he went through 11 countries, right? He went through 11 countries trying to get. He apparently flew into Brazil somehow, right? And then he walked or trekked, and he's stuck in southern Mexico. Now, okay, perhaps this guy is, a friend of the United States. But perhaps, just maybe, there are some Iranians who aren't friends of the United States. Now, we're going to go to clip 20 here. I want to go to clip 20. And since this happened on Friday, and I think Todd did that interview on Saturday, on Sunday, he came back to his base in Austin. But apparently, there's a new president of Mexico now who's a big, strong leftist in the past, I don't know, a month or so. And apparently, of these 400,000 people, now they've actually given the green light for some of them to come forward. Oscar Blue, who reports for Real America's Voice, has this report. We're going to play that right now. Here's clip 20.
Breaking. Last minute. A caravan has left the south border of Mexico. Around 2,500 migrants from Central America and South America, and also from Haiti and parts of Africa, have decided to leave this morning from the south border of Mexico in direction into the United States of America. The initiative is to make it to the border before the elections of the 5th of November. In the decision that they know that the possibilities of Donald Trump becoming president will limit their entry into the United States of America. This will be the third caravan coming out of the south border under the new administration of the new president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum. An Institute National Immigration official has released a statement in the past weeks saying that under the Andrés Manuel López Obrador administration that lasted 6 years, he released a statement saying that more than 13 million migrants were registered entering the south border of Mexico in direction to the United States of America under the AMLO administration. As today, this will be the third caravan leaving the south border in direction to the United States. Many of the migrants on this caravan have said that they are in the matter of interest of staying and applying for the CBP-1 app, but if the CBP-1 app does not work fastly, they will enter the country irregularly of the United States to deliver themselves to the authorities. They have said that they have heard through California, also through Arizona and Texas. As the caravan moves forward and through different municipal cities, they will continue until they come to an agreement with the Institute National of Immigration of Mexico so they can receive their permit so they can walk freely all the way to the north borders. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Stay safe. And like we always say, God's plan, it is our mission.
And we are joined right now on our Newsmaker line, right back from Mexico, our very good friend Todd Bensman. Todd, did you make it back safely to Austin?
Yes, I live to tell the tale. I'm here, got back Saturday night, and have shaved the scruff, and I'm getting back to normal.
You described it down there, these 400,000 illegals just waiting until November 5th, November 6th to get the green light from the new Mexican government to cross into the United States of America illegally. You called it a hellscape. Is it that bad, Todd?
It's that bad in Tapachula. Normally, a large number in Tapachula is 30,000 or 50,000. But the publisher of the local newspaper in Tapachula, who I interviewed, said that they believe that there are 150,000 in Tapachula right now. And of course, that many people trapped by this Mexican operation. Well, actually, the Biden-Harris orchestrated this Mexican operation back in December, has denuded all the resources. There's no work, there's no money, there's no space to sleep or lodge. So that makes for a tough situation. And so the Mexicans are now escorting caravans that are forming in Tapachula to other cities in Chiapas. Don't mistake those for U.S.-bound caravans. Those are escorted by the military to go to other cities, and then they'll be stuck in those cities. But it's kind of like a population transfer to spread the joy, I guess.
Spread the joy, yeah.
Right.
It's a season election joy, apparently, Todd. Now, you interviewed, how many of these illegal immigrants did you interview? We played earlier an interview you had with a fellow from Iran who said he spent $5,000 and basically came through 11 countries. How many of these illegal aliens did you interview?
Well, I didn't count, but I'll just say that I interviewed pretty much all day, every day for 5 days. Everywhere I could find them. I traveled with a caravan on one of the days and interviewed them for hours in that caravan. So yeah, I've got I interviewed quite a lot.
From what countries were these illegal aliens in southern Mexico?
Oh man, I met them from everywhere. I met my first Vietnamese. There are lots and lots of Vietnamese. You can spot them on the street. There's like, they'll be walking along in long lines, all Vietnamese, very well equipped. They filled my hotel, as did Armenians. Lots of Armenians in my hotel, and also I met Togolese from Togo, from Ghana, from really a whole bunch of countries, Congo, Cameroon, I saw people from China, Iran, as you mentioned, met a bunch from Iran. They're on the march as well. Everybody pretty much is coming through there that you can imagine.
Todd, do you have a sense that any of them are terrorists or wish ill will to the United States, or are they just looking for economic opportunity?
I think the majority are looking for economic opportunity. That's what they say. But the problem there is that, we've had more than 400 on the FBI terrorism watch list reach our border that we know of, amid 2 million that got away clean without anybody catching them. So who knows how many are in that 2 million batch. So, I mean, nobody says, yes, I'm a terrorist, but there are people from countries that have terrorist organizations operating in them that are coming through all the time as well. So there is a risk of that sort of thing happening, obviously.
Has David Muir from ABC, Christian Welker from NBC, Jake Tapper from CNN, have they called you up with this very significant break to get details on this breaking story?
No, nobody's called me. I'm wide open. If you guys are listening, happy to tell you what I saw.
This is such an important story. 400,000 illegals poised to break into the United States on the day after the election with the coercion and collusion of the Biden-Harris administration. We got 30 seconds here, Todd. Why is the mainstream media, the regime media, not reporting on this big story?
I can tell you, this is a major diplomatic story. It's a major bilateral relationship story between Mexico. It's a major election story, because whoever wins is going to influence whether there's a massive surge that is released from Mexico. Big Mexican military operation down there, probably good through about November 5th. It's going to be unavoidable probably after November 5th.
Todd Bensman with the Center for Immigration Studies. A, we're very happy you're safely back in the United States. B, thank you for your outstanding reporting. If the Pulitzer Prize were fair, you'd win it. Todd, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. We'll have more when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. So, over the weekend, Elon Musk is holding rallies all around Pennsylvania. He announced, I think on Saturday, that he was going to give $1 million a day randomly to anybody who signed his petition in favor of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. And he made good on it. I want to play the clip here of that announcement. It's pretty cool. Clip 6.
Which is that we're going to be awarding $1 million to randomly to people who have signed the petition every day from now until the election. So, you know, one of the challenges we're having is like, well, how do we get people to know about this petition? Because the legacy media won't report on it. You know, not everyone's on X. So I figure, how do we get people to know about it? Well, this news, I think, is going to really fly. So every day between now and the election, we'll be awarding $1 million, starting tonight. All right. So tonight's person is John Dreyer. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So, by the way, John had no idea. So, anyway, you're welcome. Yeah. So the only thing we ask for the $1 million is that you be a spokesperson for the petition, and that's it. Really, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so here we go. That is fantastic, isn't it? Now, notice what the $1 million is for. It's not to register to vote. It's not to vote. It's to sign a petition that says you favor the First Amendment and you favor the Second Amendment. That is it, and then to promote it. Now, I'm going to go ahead to clip 13. Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. Now, after this announcement, Josh Shapiro, who's a Democrat, who ostensibly wants Kamala Harris to win, Josh Shapiro is saying, well, that may not be legal. Here we go. Just listen to this, clip 13.
Governor, let me ask you about a development we learned about overnight. Elon Musk says he will be giving away $1 million every day to random voters who sign his super PAC's petition. You are a former attorney general. Is this legal?
I think there are real questions with how he is spending money in this race, how the dark money is flowing, not just into Pennsylvania, but apparently now into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. That is deeply concerning. Look, Musk obviously has a right to be able to express his views. He's made it very, very clear that he supports Donald Trump. I don't, obviously we have a difference of opinion. I don't deny him that right. But when you start flowing this kind of money into politics, I think it raises serious questions that folks may want to take a look at.
So you think it might not be legal, yes or no?
I think it's something that law enforcement could take a look at. I'm not the Attorney General anymore of Pennsylvania. I'm the governor, but it does raise some serious questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's threaten Elon Musk. By the way, Kristen Welker. Where was Kristen Welker in 2020 when Mark Zuckerberg put $400 million into really illegal Dropbox operations and illegal takeovers of local county election administration? Did she ask that question then? No, she did not. So, but Elon Musk is on a roll. Look, he's got attorneys. He's got attorneys who are smart. And if you listen to this, let's go on clip 9. Let's see, get John himself, the guy who got the first guy to get the $1 million. Let's see what he had to say about this.
Hey, my name is John, and I came here to see Elon Musk and support Trump to be the next president, and just see everyone in person, attend a great rally, and see a lot of patriots together.
Well, there you go. Now, let's talk about the legality of this. What exactly is $1 million for, and who's eligible for it? And again, you're getting into the federal election law weeds here on this. And by the way, we have delved into federal election law in great detail, and it's very detailed. And there's some things that happen that you think, well, how's that happen? And then there's law, and the details are very, very specific. In this instance, the left is claiming you can't pay somebody to register to vote. Well, that's not what he's doing. They say you can't pay somebody to vote. That's not what he's doing. He's giving $1 million randomly to people who sign a petition that say, I favor the First Amendment, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Okay, that is freedom of speech. And this, we're gonna threaten him with jail. That's not gonna fly, to use a Elon Musk term. All right, love that idea. It is a legal idea, and the left, well, they're whining, and they're not going to be effective in stopping it. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. We'll be back after this.